All right, so it looks like you are sharing.
Okay,
Perfect.
great,
Yeah.
great. There you go.
Awesome. Okay, so we'll start at 11. I've got some intro stuff to do, and then I'll introduce you, turn it over to you, and then we'll just go until 11 o'clock. I'll let you
Okay.
know if there's any questions in the chat and all that kind of good
Oh,
stuff.
okay, okay. I would say I teach with Zoom, so sometimes I'm used to trying to monitor chat as I go, but that's great having another set of eyes.
Yeah, yeah, it's just one less thing to worry about.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely. And if there's
Great.
anything you need, just let me know. Otherwise, I'll just
Okay.
monitor time and monitor the chat and then do the outro at the end. So,
Okay. Sounds great. Thank you.
you bet. See you in a few minutes.
Okay.
I'm just a poor broke boy down in northern Mississippi. I'm just a poor broke boy down in northern Mississippi. Well, when it rained down south, y'all, them old back roads get kind of slippy. Well, I'm walking barefooted on this hot, hot Delta land. Well, I'm walking barefooted on this hot, hot Delta land. I've been working those fields, y'all, and I've got blisters in my hand. Scorching hot in the summer, we don't even have a fan. Scorching hot in the summer, we don't even have a fan. We're sleeping four to a bed, y'all, and we eat whenever we can. We made a bill last summer down at the general store. We made a bill last summer down at the general store. Now supplies are all gone and we can't even charge no more.
Carrie, I like your background music.
Thank you. I love blues, and this was a nice royalty-free one.
Yeah. I always start with like bossa nova in the morning. I don't know why. I just popped in to make sure everything was going okay. I'm going to drop out and go check on the other rooms.
Sounds good, Christine.
Bye.
I'm just a poor broke boy down in northern Mississippi. I'm just a poor broke boy down in northern Mississippi. Well, when it rained down south, y'all, them old back roads get kind of slippy. You want to sing some, Richard? He told me don't ask him to sing. He said he might shame me. Well, my papa went to jail and Mr. Charlie raised hell. Well, my papa went to jail, and we had to work all summer just to pay my papa's bill. Well, my cow's gone dry, the poor hog's about to die. Well, my cow's gone dry, poor hog's about to die. Well, my stomach's got a pain and the poor boy's about to cry. Thank you. Thank you very much. Those are typical Delta songs for you. And the way things go. But we do love songs in the Delta too, though. We're gonna dedicate this one to the pretty girls. How about that? Hello, lovely. How could a fine girl like you ever have a bad day? You got that special smile that drive my blues away. You got that special glow. I'm gonna do like Otis on the dock of the bay. Cry my blues away. I hate to come on strong with my first approach, but when a girl makes me feel this way, she deserves to know. She's got that special smile, such a special glow. I'm gonna do like Otis on the dock of the bay. Cry my blues away. Somebody go get the preacher. I believe I wanna get hit. I ain't never seen a girl that make me feel like this. She's got that special glow, and she's heavenly fit. I'm gonna do like Otis on the dock of the bay. Cry my blues away. Thank you. All right, let's go back to the typical Delta style music. How about that? Tell them about some of them problems and troubles we having down there. We'll do Tin Top Shack. How about that? All right. I used to live in a tin top shack, and that's where I learned that I had the blues too. We used to do what you call a diddly bow, and this is similar to a diddly bow. we had baling wire that we used to put on the side of the wall, and we get out there and pluck on that thing. And being in a tin top shack, the house was like the box guitar, and that wire would resonate all through that house, like dum dum dum. Oh, and I had the most fun beating on that thing. I'd have me a glass bottle like, and pretty soon when Grandmama would explode, she couldn't handle it no more. And he don't quit beating outside my house. Knife, and he's standing there looking at me and had it. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Listen to the whippoorwill singing about my tin top shack. Or when I hear the rooster crow, it brings my memory back. Well, you ain't made love until you do it in a tin top shack. Well, it's lonesome in the country, but sometimes I like to go back and listen to the raindrops falling on my tin top shack. While I'm laying on the floor, picking pimples off Bertha's back.
Welcome, everyone. We're going to get started in just a moment. So happy to have you here. You hopefully are here for uh, same game, different room, designing exam reviews that work across in-person and online modalities. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to put that in the chat just to make sure you're in the right spot. And then we'll go ahead and get going. All right. So welcome everyone to our first session after our keynote this morning, which was fantastic. And welcome to Elevate 2026. This session is, again, same game, different room, designing exam reviews that work across in-person and online modalities with our presenter, Jennifer Kuhn from Tyler Junior College. So again, welcome. My name is Carrie Lewis Miller, and I'm with the Online Learning Consortium. I'd like to thank you for joining us today and go over a few quick housekeeping items before we get started. Please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat if you haven't already done so, and let us know your role and where you're joining from. We ask that you please remain on mute while you're not speaking so that we can limit any potential feedback going on throughout the room. I will monitor that during the presentation so that we keep everybody muted. You're welcome to type any comments or questions in the chat at any point throughout the session. If you need to come on mic or you'd like to come on mic because your question is maybe a little more complex, please raise your hand and use that raise hand icon, which can be found by clicking on the reactions button along the bottom of your meeting controls. Lastly, automated captions are available. If you'd like to use this feature, you can enable them by clicking on the Show Captions button within your Zoom controls, which will display the captions along the bottom of your screen, or you can view the full transcript, which will display the transcribed text in a sidebar along with timestamps and speaker names. In addition, please feel free to rename yourself, add your pronouns, and change your Zoom background for a more customized experience. I'd like to take a few moments to recognize our 2026 OLC Elevate co-hosts, Tarleton State Fort Worth and Rockford University. Their support of this conference is dedicated to helping OLC create the space for each of you to engage in critical dialogue around the generative ways that we can create more equitable and inclusive future of education through the power of online, digital, and blended learning. So welcome to OLC Elevate. As a reminder, questions or comments in the chat. The presenter will take some questions at the end, hopefully, if she has time. We have 45 minutes. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our presenter for this session, Jennifer Kuhn, and her presentation, Same Game, Different Room, Designing Exam Reviews that Work Across In-Person and Online Modalities. I will stop sharing and turn the floor over to Jennifer.
Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate your help. So I'm glad all of you are here this morning. First session, I know there's a lot of great sessions going on today. So I teach accounting at Tyler Junior College, and usually when I say accounting, everyone kind of goes, eh. But I am hopeful that what we're going to go over today can be used in different areas, give you some ideas, because I'm very much one that when I can see an idea and try to figure out how to implement it in my area, it really excites me and I like to try new things. So we're going to talk about an experience I had this spring and how it's kind of morphed into some exam review games for in-person and online classes. So to get started, let's see if it'll go. I'm going to have you scan, or I will copy this link and drop it in the chat if you want to play along. If not, I'll go through the screen as well. But you can scan or drop it in the chat. So our setup, somewhere out there, a system called the calendar has locked away the last day of summer, so the fall semester starts exactly on schedule. And your job is to break the seals and steal back summer before the clock runs out. So we're going to play a little game. Okay, so hopefully everyone got in okay. So one more day. When I set up these games,
B, C, and D. That is a good one. All right, so let's dive into this. Learning when it comes to modern technology. So 74% said they want flexible learning. I learned with the veterans that they wanted the flexible learning, but were fearful of technology. Employees say flexible learning formats are critical to their engagement. They are, but how do you get someone who's fearful of technology and AI as if AI is something that's going to poison their minds? So how do you engage that individual? How do you keep them engaged and giving them the accessibility that they need to be flexible in their learning? Then you have 58% of them learn outside of the course. Workplace learning now occurs informally through peers, practice, and digital tools. That's according to the Association of Talent Development in 2023. 3 times more effective for better retention for learners when you apply real-world applications versus passive coursework. That is another thing that I also learned with the veterans was putting in real-world context, because the context was a little bit too rigorous for them if they're transitioning from military to civilian life and going into post-secondary. So I had to find a way to make the applications of the context more real world. 42% complete e-learning. Only 42 of assigned online courses are ever completed a persistent engagement crisis. I learned that also. We had about 125 participants that were signed up for what I implemented was called the Mission College Success. In the Mission College Success, what we did was we created content using Canva, are now in post-secondary. So what we're challenging today, course-centered design puts the LMS at the center of every learning experience. Remember the old model with the blackboard and everything, and you're getting the course, and then you get completion and you get the certificate. Now we have a different ecosystem that we have to embrace, the new reality, which is the ecosystem, experience, and the impact. Now, the old model wasn't that bad. We had the courses, we had them in LMS, and we understand that they had to be completed, which I learned also that everyone, for me, on my end with the veterans, they love the timestamp on everything. They felt like they were in a hamster in a wheel just spinning around, but they wanted to know the timestamp. I was like, okay, because you're used to boot camp. Boot camp is what, 6 weeks? Okay, let's make this course a 6 week course so that they can do the coursework in a timely manner, complete it, and get the certificate. So
And they can choose from multiple learning pathways, assignment formats, or methods of demonstrating their knowledge. Gen Z learners also value flexibility. They're often having to balance work, family, and other responsibilities. They appreciate self-paced opportunities, mobile accessibility, and learning
opportunities. Now let's look at the tools and the platforms. The LMS is one nod, not the center, but we have podcasts, we have Slack communities, we have YouTube, we have job aids, all count as learning infrastructures. So has anyone started using the Zoom learning? That's another tool that's coming out. I was in a conference with that learning about the Zoom Learning Center. So those are things and different platforms that are starting to arise in this learning, e-learning world that we call the real world context, the projects, stretch assignments, apply challenges, create the conditions for doable learning. Do we really create conditions for doable learning? I know it's a struggle when trying to develop real world content. I looked at News ELA and they have a section for current trends, current events. And I love that they have stories, and the stories that they have do also have the questions. So for the first time, we implemented that into our Mission College Success Summer Enrichment Program. And the students loved that because it brought about real world conversations. In those conversations, I did not know that they were going to take them far beyond
particular pathway, particular value, having a safe environment for failure. Many Gen Z learners experience anxiety, like we all mentioned, around academic performance and achievement. They thrive in learning environments that normalize mistakes, provide low stakes practice opportunities, encourage help-seeking behavior, and view failure as a natural and valuable part of the learning process. With although Gen Z learners are often viewed as digitally savvy and practically born with a phone on their hands, right? They don't automatically know how to learn online. They benefit from tutorials, examples, checklists, and support resources, and just-in-time guidance that helps them navigate both course content and learning technologies successfully. Now, I threw a lot of information at you. So do any of these characteristics sound familiar to you, regardless of your generation? If you do belong in the Gen Z generation, does this sound like you? Um, and do they reflect any of your own learning preferences? What comes to mind when you're, now that you have met the online
capital trends. Now, if we look at the 2025 study that says 45% more likely to exceed performance expectation than those.
And then they had their answer key.
Yeah, so like somebody mentioned in the chat, this is where the all learners are kind of moving towards, right? As new technology is available, as learning is evolving as all of us are learning new tools, new practices as learning facilitators and instructors and designers. um, Learning is going to start evolving and looking a little bit differently than what it looked like before. And this generation is just shining a light to the need for that. So that's very exciting for us to see that y'all are seeing that as well.
So, why does this matter? Why should we center our learning design to Gen Z learners? Well, let's go ahead and listen what Jasmine has to say.
The online classroom is evolving just as rapidly as the world around us. Advances in technology, changing lifestyles, and new ways of accessing information.
It's about expanding. So, from content delivery to performance support, design for moments of need, not just the training event, like job aids, decision.
Okay. Okay. So that's just kind of how it looked like. I know it's a little bit hard without playing with it. So now I'm going to show you, and hopefully I have not timed out. Okay, I think I'm gonna drop in and show you our Canvas. Do most of you use Canvas? Yep. Yeah, Canvas. Okay. Okay, great. I know you can do these same things in Blackboard and Moodle, and I've had people ask about different LMSs. So what I did in Claude is it created all the code, but the thing that allowed me to keep it housed within my LMS is what is called the SCORM file. And I don't remember what the acronym is for, but if you have anyone that uses like Articulate for storytelling, or maybe you have instructional designers that use some of those platforms, it's similar to that. So it allows it to run this file. So this SCORM file, you can upload the file into Canvas, and you can choose to have it as a graded assignment.
That mainly repeats an inquiry cycle. So we're observing our learner experience, we're collecting evidence using specific tools shared with this cohort, and giving them an opportunity to see how that pans out in, say, their STEM class versus their English or something else that they teach. They identified patterns together, they reflected collaboratively, and then what they get to do would be to develop informed next steps based around these particular lenses. That next steps meaning course
Issues. Another thing we've learned is that they're autonomous and flexible. They want to be self-directed, value that flexibility. So UDL guidelines offer a way to support these characteristics or students. So optimizing choice and autonomy for 7.1. 6.2 is to set meaningful goals, really looking at our objectives, at our both in the course level and module level objectives really help with that alignment and that meaningful alignment throughout the course designs. 6.2, support planning and strategy development. And 9.2, build self-awareness.
Create an interactive game using this assignment as the starting point. And, it's going to get kind of accounting tech info here, but I like Claude because I can talk to it like it's me and you having a conversation.
It opens up your ears to new things, to learning new ways and having the accessibility. Create a podcast that has a series of
conditions help explain how the studio work group was really designed to function differently from something like a one-time training where people can get very excited about it. So first, the inquiry is embedded in actual practice. Faculty are examining one of their live courses while students are experiencing it. So the evidence is connected to real instructional decisions rather than the hypothetical exercises we sometimes have to assume afterwards if we don't gather this information up front or while we're working through it. And so second, the work is very collaborative. Faculty gathered the evidence individually. They were not put into each other's courses. No FERPA was violated. And the cohort creates a space to really kind of compare those patterns, test interpretations, and really learn from one another, especially the insights across disciplines that might not always always occur to us when we can get laser focused on our own course and our own discipline. And then finally, that third one, the findings may point kind of beyond individual course changes. And so the patterns across the courses really helped identify where some of those expectations and support resources were working, maybe what needed to change, and also the institutional processes that we might need to pay a little bit more closer attention to. So at this stage, we're not claiming in the total transformation. This is on
Being back into using that because we are more, it's more, the dialogue is what we need. We use Microsoft Teams, and I think Microsoft Teams is good, but I think that Slack channel, everybody wants to do something different and try different technologies. But I think Teams has been something that's been ongoing since COVID. So we're looking to pivot from, especially with business students, having them do a portfolio of their work as they're prepping for if they're doing entrepreneurship. Let's see some of your work, some of your designs. Create that kind of atmosphere for those students in business. I think portfolio building has been a great tool that has not been used as much. Micro learning, short videos, scenario bursts, job aids. Short videos have gone a long way. I love the fact that everybody loves TikTok. I don't have a TikTok account, but I love the short videos. And what I do is I create short videos using Canva for our veterans. And I think it keeps their entertainment going because it's not long-winded. Like I said, they're about time. They don't want anything taking more than their time. So the short videos help out a great deal. But if it's longer than 5 minutes, you're looking at the attention span has pretty much dwindled away. Gamification. My biggest gamification is Kahoots. I love using Kahoots. I'm working on trying to get this thing going where they are having simulations in there. I do have a technology instructor who's working on a simulation that she's calling the college boot camp. So she's looking to create different things about different colleges and
bleed into that because it's
Clear checklists and weekly expectations, flexible deadlines when appropriate, and that real world application to the workplace. Awesome. So now I'm gonna stop sharing and share my other screen in this world of many windows open. Excuse me. Um, to share with you a live demonstration of some of our own work where we showcase ways that you can implement some of the things that we talked about to hopefully give you some ideas in your course designs or in your courses. Let me make sure. Okay, perfect. All right, so here, this is in my sandbox course, so we just pulled in some examples. But here is an example of a homepage that we often use for some of our course designs, where immediately the student is greeted by peers.
in flip or team channels. Keep cohorts connected. I think a lot of people are using the TikTok. They love keeping people connected, and that's one of the tools that's very successful.
To quickly drop. It's not letting me. Usually I can drag and drop these in, and it's not letting me. Oh, thank you, Carrie. Carrie put the drive in there. In the drive, there is a handout. Usually I'm able to get it to drop. Okay, music appreciation, lab science. Okay, so some different areas. All right, so I just have you guys put in your name for the brief. And we can go in and say, okay, think about one of your classes and what is something that you would like for an online class to be able to do. Do you guys all have online classes? Are they synchronous or asynchronous? But you can type into this
and come up with a game. I'm just going to type some random letters there. Asynchronous online. Yeah, me too. That's most of what mine are. What's your course or discipline, whatever you want to type in. And then some ideas. So this isn't
The thumbs are there. They're playing that. That's something that they love. And that's more for a younger generation to get that education and gamification, build that credentials from courses.
But there's ways to still build the same kind of connection within the native Canvas discussion posting as well. Within the same course, we have an assignment. So again, you're seeing the same color scheme throughout, similar format to help students navigate through the process of completing all the items in this module. They're provided a purpose for the assignment, detailed instructions here. And then for this assignment, students were given the opportunity to use a new tool, Adobe Express, to complete an assignment, or given the option if they need something more accessible or would just maybe are not ready to try a new tool, they can use a PowerPoint version of this assignment. So let me see if y'all can see this. It's loading. So within Adobe Express, we built out this template for students to use to complete this strategic goal mapping worksheet.
And we're like, okay, is there other tools besides iExcel? Can we use any other program? So I had to look at
Get as we were flying through some of this, but how do you incentivize faculty to stay engaged in the process? So if you're still here and you want to know, there are many different ways to do it. There's no right or wrong way. One of the things that we are pushing for, because it works best with our institute, is for service hours. And to just so you know, so faculty they have to apply to this experience. So they're vetted, but by the instructional design team and those of us working with them. So not by their supervisors, their department chairs don't get to be in it. Again, it's very non-evaluative. And so that helped with both the buy-in on a faculty level, the fact that, hey, you're already going to be teaching. We're not asking you to make changes in the moment. And so we meet like 4 times face to face. And so you're gathering the data in between, and then you're bringing it back. We're compiling it. We're disaggregating it as a group. It's very collaborative. And they also get to have a direct voice in the recommendations that comes from that to leadership. Be present. Again, that direct voice, I think, is sometimes kind of left out. There's like 50 layers between what are we doing this time? And many of you even noted that, oh,
I can give you guys some examples of what I worded, but how you think and how I think may be different, and how we interact may be different. So I really believe in just sitting down with the AI and talking to it and playing with it. And
had them to work on was Roberta Flack's Killing Me Softly. Unfortunately, I did not know that YouTube had it in Portuguese. So I needed them to sing it and learn the words in English. So it was a tool that I learned that, oh, they love music. So creating music activities for them. Out the classroom was competitive, yes, but giving them that outside activity of that learning with music, that they were able to have the dialogue, and giving them real world conversations where we had interviews, where we had doctor visits, just giving them that opportunity to talk and not so much focus on the being in the classroom, but also giving real world activities outside of the classroom. The data demand changes. 58% of the workplace learning is already informed. Only 42% of courses get complete. I've learned that also with the realtors, that they are very anxious in continuing education. So getting them the demands, meeting those changes constantly, and being able to create continuing education that gives them that energy to learn more. Social learning.
There's so much more we could say about that, Gio, but yeah, trying to be cognizant of time.
Yeah, and I put our contact in chat one more time. Again, we appreciate you so much for joining us today, for being part of this conversation. Let's go out there and have more transformation and less one-off efforts. Thank you. Hope you enjoy the rest of the conference, and we look forward to hearing from you as you engage in this journey. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah, great.
everyone.
Thank you both. Really appreciate it. Bye, everyone.
Here and there, and we have to go back in and fix it. But that tends to happen. And we don't always use course arc. It just depends on the needs of the course. It really just depends on the course, the instructor, and all of that good stuff. But we have some time for some questions if anyone has any.
While people are typing their questions, I posted in the chat a few links. One is to evaluate the session, and then a couple more are for some upcoming OLC conferences, and then a link to volunteer. We always appreciate that. I'm gonna.
Okay, well, for online classes, though, I did not have any pushback with my online class. I actually had them emailing me going, make them harder questions, give me more.
Slides, if you download those slides for yourselves. Thank you for your feedback. The content is beautiful, engaging, and polished. How do instructors keep the content responsive, fresh, relevant, incorporate questions, responses, and interest from class discussions? We work with them, right, to help them with the design aspect. I feel like a lot of times the big lift of creating some of these things is the actual lift of creating the designs. This is why we work very closely with our faculty to creating these and designing these courses the way that they are. And we act as just we help with suggestions here and there, but ultimately instructors are the subject matter experts. So how we help them with content responsiveness, keeping things relevant, is offering them suggestions if they're using course content that's like from 10 years ago, maybe finding things that are newer within the last 5 years, maybe thinking in addition to their reading material, including articles or podcasts or some kind of other ways to
community college itself. So we were using Canvas for free, well, free for free teachers. So we used the Google Classroom, which helped out a great deal because it was the same thing, and we can incorporate some of the Canvas tools as videos to help them aid them in the transition. No problem, Amy. But I tell you one thing, though, it will be missed with the Canvas free for teachers because that was one tool that adult basic education also used as well to help those students to transition from adult basic education to post-secondary.
Everything. So you can tell it what you want it to have on here. Like for this one, I told it to have the badge and kind of info and all of these decisions. So if maybe you don't want all the words that they've typed during the game and you just want it to catch a certain thing, the end of my games, I always have like a question like, how do you tie this to real life? What is a struggle of the concept you had in this chapter? Something, try to slow them down from just clicking and get them to stop and think. Did that help? Okay, awesome. Oh, we're at 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
If
I
you
was gonna.
have more questions, feel free to, I'm on LinkedIn, or if you want to email me, I will be happy to help. And then my web pages, I have a lot of tips and tricks on my website too. Those were in the handout.
Perfect.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Jennifer, for such a great session. I was so involved, I lost track of the last few minutes because I'm very excited about this. But please evaluate this session. Your voice matters. You can also enter to win a $25 gift card. And of course, these sessions help us improve evaluations help us improve the conference and your experience. So thank you to Jennifer for sharing her expertise. I'm super excited. I hope you all are pumped to go try all this and keep learning. This was a great first session. So thanks so much, Jennifer. And audience, have a great rest of your conference, and we'll see you back at the next one.
Thank you.